Well, Andy, thank you for joining us for your last question and answer session of 2023. As we approach the end of the year, how pleased are you with the progress the club has made?
Max, delighted to have the opportunity to speak to everybody as we head into Christmas, and I'm sure that it's a very busy time for everybody, so hopefully lots of supporters will get the opportunity to enjoy their football over the next few days and perhaps take in some of the questions and answers that has ever been put forward on a range of topics from our supporters. I think in terms of progress for the year, it's probably something for a matter for other people to judge. For our part, obviously you want to try and move the football club. We work tirelessly every day to put it in a better place than the day we found it yesterday. And I think if we go back to January, I would hope that many people would see that to be the case. We started the year off obviously with the appointment of John Massinio, John Harley, and the supporting team of Zesh Raymond and Joe Perdomo on the coaching side. It was a pretty long, extensive process. 3 weeks doesn't sound a long time, but it was, in terms of making sure that we made the right appointment and we had a clear process in place. We had the criteria in place to enable us to hopefully make what was a good long-term appointment for Portsmouth Football Club, one that would drive us forward. So we're absolutely thrilled with the way we find ourselves at the end of the year. We end 2023, going in, Christmas at the top of the table. And I've probably, for some people, that might have exceeded expectations, but our goal has always been to win promotion. And we wanted to make sure that we had the right tools to do that. It starts with the strategy as well, in terms of recruitment, alignment of all the different areas that we work in on the football operations, and that's been really, really good in terms of the type of players that we brought in, not just in the summer, but in January too. Riley Towler, Paddy Lane really emphasised the hunger to go out and acquire for fees young first team ready talent. And we continue to do that over the course of the summer. We've got good balance in terms of experience as well, but most importantly, we've got togetherness throughout the squad. And you don't achieve anything without togetherness, without that sense of unity and everybody having a shared common purpose. So that's been absolutely, fundamental, I think, the cornerstone of the success that we've enjoyed. We've also made changes in other areas of the football operations. We've had review. We've reviewed our medical, our analysis teams, recruitment as well as is all in a different place to where we found it in January 2023, and hopefully there'll be some really, really strides that we made forward in terms of that. The training ground itself, the players came with a number of different ideas and recommendations as to how we could improve things for them at their place of work. And over the course of the summer, we've been able to make some of those things happen, which is, I think, again, been small things, but they have been quite significant as to where we find ourselves in. So, really, really positive on that side. In the academy, they go into 2024 in the final of the Youth Alliance Cup as well. So again, they've got a really good team. Again, young, energetic coaches, support staff throughout the academy, probably at the start of their journey in football, but one where we've got a really, really strong unity and again team that will help us develop the next generation of players and provide opportunities to the best young talent in Portsmouth as well. And we've looked at our recruitment in the academy. We're going further afield. We saw that in terms of recruitment over the summer, even as going as far as Aberdeen for one of our young scholars. So again, it's just thinking outside the box and becoming stronger. Women's team, major significant development there in terms of Tornanti taking over the women's team. Eric Colborne, Bill Griffiths, Helen Chilvers, they'd all worked tremendously hard to get the club last season into a great place, probably exceeded expectations amongst the players in terms of their final league position. And it's a huge opportunity for women's football going forward. And, for us then to be able to work with Eric in particular and Bill and Helen to take the team on to next level, taking them semi-professional, and to see them at the top of the league with an incredible record, play 10, won 9 out of 10 games so far, a goal difference of plus 42, which is quite simply incredible. So they go into 2024 in a really good place. The goal for them now is to win promotion, get us into what will be a totally revamped second tier next season. The first and second tiers in women's football are going to break away, new broadcasting deals, new central sponsorship deals. It's a great time to win promotion, not just for the men, but for the women as well. And that's something, again, that we'll continue to support them with. And then if we look around the stadium, we're filming this in the new control room, which will house our safety teams on match days, but not only the safety team, but the police, the ambulance services, the medical teams will be sort of all based in here. Incredibly important. We have over 250 cameras at the stadium to ensure that everybody can arrive safely. So this turns it into a modern room. We've got breakout rooms as well for private meetings as and when we need to have them. All part of the Milton End development, which obviously has been the main focus in getting completed this year, and we'll be ready for the Northampton game at the end of or beginning of February. So new lift shaft, we've got to my right, we're going to have a new disabled high-level platform for away supporters to be able to watch their team with their own supporters undercover. It's not happened before at Portsmouth, and that is not great. So that will be a huge improvement going forward. And then we've got rail seating. So we will be the first club, I think, in League One to have rail seating for both home and away fans. Absolutely thrilled. Just before I came into this interview with you, Max, that we received notification from the SGSA, the Safety Ground Sports Authority, that they have granted the licence. And that means we can now properly market rail seating to both home and away fans and be secure. It protects our capacity. We've had persistent standing issues throughout the ground over a number of years now, and now that rail seating has been the legislation has come through for that, it means that if you don't put these improvements in, then you can have your capacity restricted. And after all the work that we've done over the last 3 years, that wouldn't be a great place to be. So huge improvements in terms of the stadium, and of course we've announced going forward for 2024 a number of new areas that we're going to continue. We haven't stopped. We're going to do the TV gantry, we're going to do the new mezzanine floors in the north stand to improve the service for food, drink and people wishing to use bathrooms. The Victory Lounge is going to be completely revamped along with the area outside. We'll begin creating a new executive box in the corner of the Milton and South stand as well. 63 new executive seats in the South stand, and on top of that, and probably really crucially, moving the first team staff out of the Porter Cabins at the training ground into the Portsmouth Health and Fitness Club, something we'll come on to. So lots of things going on there as well. And I think the other areas of progress, our partners, Piglets, absolutely brilliant in terms of what they continue to deliver and achieve in terms of the matchday product. We worked with supporters to improve the beer range in the summer, so took their ideas and views as to what the new products that we could do and what we could deliver from our supplier, which has been implemented. Piglets have improved the food range as well. They've added a pergola to the FanZone, and all that has seen a further 30% increase in revenues in terms of matchday kiosks, food and drink, and that we had a 50% growth the year before. So it's it's things like that, small things, but they make such a huge difference. Retail wise, I think I took on board a lot of comments from supporters last year that we needed to improve the range. We've worked with Just Sport, who operate our shop, to do that. I think they've noted that this Christmas, whilst we've had some issues, which we'll come on to in terms of shirts, the range of stock is as much as it's ever been in this, and particularly more products for children as well. So that's an area we want to continue to work on. But again, revenue in the shop has been phenomenal. A huge increase in shirts from 9,000 to 14,000 this season. So it sort of underlines the improvements that they've helped us make as well. Again, to the benefit of the football club. And then we look at Pompey in the community, getting very, very close now to getting those pitches at the John Jenkins Stadium ready for play. They've had a really testing year in terms of construction, building costs have gone through the roof, and that really has put lots of stresses on the charity. But they've worked so hard to get through it, and I'm absolutely thrilled and delighted for them that they'll be close to, making a massive impact on the local community with the pitches that they've got to there as well. And Pompey Health and Fitness Club, again, we bought the training ground 2.5 years ago. We found a building which was in dire need of attention and care. In some places it was crumbling around the swimming pool areas. Significant investment has gone into that to continue to provide, a health and fitness provision for that area of Portsmouth. We went into the year with 1,800 members. We finished the year at 2,800 going into January, where I'm sure there'll be a further spike, because that's the time of year where you see a lot of gym memberships taken up. And again, we turn that into a profitable operation. It gives us a little bit more that we can reinvest into the training ground as well. So yeah, there's lots of things that have happened. When you look back at all the things that have happened in 2023, you take a deep breath. But there's still so much more to do. There's still so much more to improve, and every one of us is going to work, absolutely tirelessly to ensure that we can deliver the success that the supporters of Portsmouth Football Club should enjoy and deserve. And that will be very much the mantra going into 2024, to continue on that vein.
Brilliant. Let's kickstart the questions. We're going to start with stadium development. The first question comes from Clark via email. Why are we losing a lot of seats to segregation in the Milton End?
Well, perhaps if I just explain the Milton End as it works at the moment, because we're in a very much a temporary phase. We still haven't got the full licence because we can't do so until all the bathrooms and toilets are completed, until the lift is fully commissioned and tested, and that will be done by the middle of January. So the aim is for the Northampton game, the Milton End will be fully operational, and from that day we can operate it normally. So at the moment, what we've managed to get agreement to is the ability to have home and away supporters in the Milton End. And one of the things I think John Massinio remarked to me after the Bolton game was what a difference it made to have over 1,000 home supporters in the Milton End and play up Pompey coming from all four corners of the ground, or all four ends of the ground. It really impacted the players and was noticeable. So I think that's going to be, again, something significantly advantageous to us going forward. So at the moment, we have continued to house the away supporters in the south section of the Milton End, but we are in a position where we cannot use the block that's closest to the south stand. It's roughly about 350 seats. And that's because that section overlooks the south stand. So we would never get a licence to have that sort of proximity of home fans and away fans, albeit in different stands. Otherwise, we'd have to lose some seats in the south stand as well, which is not what we're going to do. We've also got the high level platform in here, which will be in use for away supporters. There'll be a low level platform for home supporters at the other end, and then you've got the access and egress out of the ground. So away coaches tend to park on Rodney Road, so they come in and access the stadium at the north side and exit that way. So you don't want that conflict going on at the end of the game. So the idea is that from the Northampton game, we will have away supporters in the north section, and we will have segregation, depending on the risk, of probably about 200 seats. And that's because you have to have 14 seats from an aisle to the further seat away, and there's roughly about 24 seats in a row. So you would have that segregation at that particular level between home and away. No segregation needed on this side. We've worked hard with the safety advisory group to put some screens and blocks in, which will give the segregation between the north and the Milton. But it does mean that any time we get less than 2,000 away supporters, we can increase the number of seats available to home fans at a minimum 650 for away fans, and then we've got 7 different permutations that will take us up to increasing the number of level of seats available for home supporters. So that's going to be something that will come into play. We've sold a large number of season tickets as well in the Milton too, and those come effective from the Northampton game.
A question from Mark via email. Now home fans are sitting in the Milton End on a regular basis. Are there any plans to install an additional scoreboard or smaller screens?
Yeah, it's something we're looking at because it's not just at the Milton End. If you sit in the upper tiers of the North and the South Stand, again, you don't have a view of the scoreboard. So it's looking at something potentially that we can produce down at lower level, which maybe would be pitch side, which would display the time, the score, and that will enable us then to make sure that everybody has sight of some of the essential parts of watching a football match.
When the new TV gantry is installed, will the current ladder and cables be removed or tidied to improve the view in the middle of the South Stand? That one's from Josh via email.
Yeah, Josh, the good news there is once the new TV gantry goes in place, we start work on that immediately after the last game of the season. So the gantry obviously looks fantastic. It's very empathetic to the Sir Archibald Leach architecture which defines the stadium, and it will once it's completed, we then have no need for cat ladders, which are the ladders that you're referring to, because it will be accessed by stairs at the back of the stand. So those cat ladders completely go, the cables go, and that improves sight lines. Also for the people who have a slightly obstructed view at the moment from the temporary TV gantry, which is just in front of the director's box, that will go too. And again, we put 63 new seats into that particular area. So that's a real positive.
A question from Stuart. There are quite a few empty seats during sellouts because it's more hassle selling a seat back to the club for only £5. Could the price be raised, or maybe another incentive be given if the unfortunate event takes place that a season ticket holder can't make the game?
Yeah, I totally agree, but we want to maximise every single seat in the stadium wherever we can, and get as many people watching home games who currently are finding it difficult because we're selling out games, and obviously the Milton End will create some more capacity, will take us towards 21,000. And we can release more home seats, particularly when away supporters aren't bringing their full numbers under their entitlement of 2,000. So yeah, the ticket exchange scheme is in place. I think that level has been set now for a number of years. We have to make sure that if you make any changes to the way it works, that it's pretty uniform, because what we don't want to do is complicate matters for supporters and complicate matters operationally for the ticket office. So yeah, we'll take a review of that over the summer, particularly as we move to a situation where we've got a waiting list for season ticket holders. So can we start to look at ways that they can have some priority for tickets as well, whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but also the refunds that are available to season ticket holders who can't make a match. Not everybody can come to 23 games. We want to see that seat used and encourage people to offer it to other supporters for games they cannot make.
A question from Matt on Facebook. Are there any plans to bring free Wi-Fi to Fratton Park?
Matt, it's something we continue to look at. It's a hugely expensive project to make sure you've got capability. It's all about capacity, bandwidth within the stadium. So a lot of sporting venues do struggle with this. And where some have provided it, it doesn't absolutely include all of the stadium. So I know Brighton were real pioneers with this a few years ago, with their capacity, but they were probably only getting up to about 30-40% of coverage. So I think the cost will come down over time. The technology will improve, and that will enable us then to continue to enhance Wi-Fi coverage throughout the stadium. It's really important we look to do so, because I think it offers opportunities as well in terms of kiosk ordering, merchandise as well whilst the game's ongoing, consumption of other products that people want to look at digitally as well. So those are areas that we continue to look at, but I think it's important me to say at this point, it's a good opportunity for me to do so, that the owners have now invested £20 million into the improvements around the stadium, and there's more to come next year as well. So there's a huge amount of projects we still want to do. We want to look at Wi-Fi, we want to look at pitch improvement as well. There's other areas in terms of the ongoing maintenance capital expenditure that's needed in an ageing stadium. Pitches at the training ground are another area that we need to do. So we've got a number of things happening. But again, I think, as I said in the last video that we did, my job as CEO is to make sure that we try and provide as best we can whilst making sure everything is affordable, and just getting sure we've got a good sense of priority for those projects. So developing things over a 5-year period is very much responsibility that I have and accountability I have to the board.
Final question on the topic of stadium development. This one comes from Lee. Can we get some seats outside the Victory Lounge for those in the fan zone?
Really good question. I mean, the FanZone continues. It was really popular throughout the last throughout this year, and it's been something that we will look at in combination with the improvements that we're going to make to the Victory Lounge next year, as well as the inside. We're going to be looking at the outside as well. So there's an opportunity there to see how we can make that provision for supporters who wish to use the FanZone pre-match and sit outside.
Now on to matters with the men's team and the training ground as well. First of all, from Mark via email, are the club in talks with the players who are nearing the end of their contracts?
I think we have 8 players out of contract next season. We obviously have the 3 loans at the moment as well who would return. But we do hold options on some of those players. And I think going into when you start to look at this process, there is a right time to do it. And what you don't want to do is be out of sync with different people. So it'll be a right time to do it, and those contract discussions will commence when the time is right.
Next question is from James on Facebook. What is the club's stance in regards to new additions to strengthen the squad in January?
I think, James, it's a really fluid process. It's something that we didn't stop once the transfer window closed at the end of August. So we had a fantastic start to the season. We want to continue that momentum. There's areas we know we would benefit from strengthening in. Obviously, we've lost one of our centre backs at the moment. But there's 4 games to go between now and the opening of the transfer window. So there's other things that could potentially happen that we need to be alert to. So we've got options, we've got different scenarios, planning in different areas that we're going through. We hold regular recruitment meetings with the board, so we're all aligned as to what we'd like to do. I think the good news is because we had such a positive summer transfer window, we do have pretty good depth in the squad as well. So when we've had a position where Colby's been out, we brought Cassini in. We've had other players drop in and out, and we've been able to bring them in individually, and we haven't felt weakened as a process of that. Even when Joe Morel got suspended, we were able again to make sure midfield was covered. Regan dropping out the team, Sean Raggett's come back in and made us still look very good at the back. So there are areas that we want to improve. But I think it's additions here and there that will do it, as opposed to maybe surgery in January. And the January window is never a cheap window to do things, but nevertheless it provides an opportunity. So it will all be aligned with our strategy as well. We do have some options in terms of loans as well. We only have 3 loans at the moment, but equally, if we can find what we did last January in terms of Riley and in terms of Paddy, if we can find that young talent as well that we can potentially invest in, then if that's right to do, we'll be doing that too.
Next question comes from Sunny. What exactly is the strategy when it comes to loaning players out? Often it feels like there's no method of progression other than loans to nearby non-league clubs. How can the club ensure these players get the best possible experience for their development? Yeah,
I think loan opportunities at the moment going out tend to be for our younger scholars or first-year professionals. And the beauty of going to non-league clubs is that they can train with us during the week, so they're part of the first team or the under-18 set out, and then going out to play competitive men's football. So we'll find the right level, and if the level is too high for them, we may need to bring them back and drop them down one. Equally, if they're doing really well, there's an opportunity to move them up. And I think a really good example this year has been the progress and development of Toby Stewart at Gosport, playing in a team again towards the top of the table. Every match matters. It's really important. Toby benefits during the week of training with Joe Perdumo and all the other goalkeepers as well, so he's very much part of the setup. So we're monitoring his development, and he's getting the benefit of playing a couple of games every week for Gosport in a team that's doing very well. So we're delighted with the opportunity that presents. But it's about building relationships with as many clubs as you possibly can. That is another part that Rich and Greg are very active at, in terms of not just local football, but maybe looking beyond as well, in terms of where the opportunity, if we've got the right player who's capable of playing in League Two, as part of their development can we do it. Similarly in the National League, but we're very, very flexible. And as I said, the beauty is that they are with us during the week training, and so they're very, very much part of our development programme.
Just a question about the training ground now. What's the plan with the players starting to use the Pompey Health and Fitness building, and how does this intersect with the public using it?
Yeah, another good question. So that is a project that the board have committed to invest in over the next few months. So we will start work properly in the new year, and we hope to have a building completed in the Pompey Health and Fitness Club building by the end of the season, and that will encompass offices for the coaches. It will be a new gym, new medical facilities. We're designing that with John, with Steve Hard, with Rich, and with Greg as to how that building will look like. We'll have a theatre in there as well for players. Even you'll get a little sweet, Max, in terms of doing media presentations as well. There'll be a common room for the first team, a common room on the ground floor for the academy. We've obviously done the canteen this year as well. And then some offices up there as well for everybody to use. So everybody will be fully integrated, academy and first team together. It doesn't impact on the public gym at all, because we've created that space. We took back, when we did the refurbishments 12 months ago, a number of rooms out of the public gym to use for the first team going forward. And the incredible thing is actually the floor looks bigger for the public than it actually was before. Now it's been through the use of space that we've done and everything else. So separate accesses, separate entrances into the building, so it's all discreet, no necessarily interaction. But it'll be great if you're a gym member to know that you're in the same building being used by the first team. And for us, again, it just professionalises us a little bit more. We're making improvements to the entrance into that area as well. Don't like it at the moment. I think it looks a bit, there's a lot of improvements we can make there as well. So this is a good time to link that all together, and hugely exciting. And I know what will be really good is, before the players depart for the summer break, they will be able to see exactly what's being done and what's happened. And as we go into next summer as well, I'm sure that will be hugely influential in attracting new players for the 24-25 season.
Brilliant. On to a question about the women's team. It's great to see the investment into Pompey Women. Can you share some more information on what the plans and ambitions are for them? That's from Jason via email.
Well, I think, as I said at the outset, it's been a big year. We've taken the team semi-professional this year, so all players are on professional contracts. It means that we've got better protection of our assets. Previously, if you had a really good player, then the club could come in and take them away from you at 7 days' notice. But if they're under contract, then obviously it's exactly the same now as a men's player. So the next stage, obviously, for us is, as I said, they've been absolutely brilliant in terms of what they've done this season, and the football's been huge. I've been to most of the home games, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the performances, thrilled with the wins that they've had. And it sort of means that, they go into the new year. There's 22 games in the league, so they've played 10, they've got 12 to go. They're 3 points off the leaders with 2 games in hand. Superior goal difference. Their next game is against the leaders, or the next home game is against the leaders, against # on the 14th of January. A little bit of a shameless plug here, but tickets are on sale. We had 1,800 come and watch them play Southampton in the FA Cup. It would be great to have over 1,000 people come and support them in what will be a crucial match on the 14th of January. And if we win promotion, then it's a bit of a game changer, because you then are looking about taking the team fully professional. That will be a requirement of the Tier 2 licence. There'll be a lot more staff that we will require. There's mandatory positions that you have to fill in the second tier. So you have to bring in a general manager, who can work closely with myself and Jay. And there'll be mandatory positions in areas such as marketing and safeguarding, and coaching positions, medical support as well. So it really changes the world. And ultimately, what I want to try and do, and what we're all looking to do, is bring the women regularly to play games at Fratton Park. Obviously, we would do that in conjunction with a new pitch, and when that comes in, which is capable of hosting 40 to 50 games a year, which would comfortably enable both the men and the women to use Fratton Park on a surface commensurate with what they need to do. So huge plans for what we're doing. I'm really delighted with the way that the women's and the men's team, the staff and the men's team have integrated with the women's team to provide support and extra resource, whether it be in finance, HR, marketing, sponsorship, sales, IT. Everyone is working together because we are so determined to provide inspiration to women and young girls in Portsmouth to play the game. And I think the other big thing I should say as well is congratulations to Claire and Kirsty in PITC for achieving ETC status. That's Elite Talent Centre, FA funded, to provide proper training, proper coaching, funded training at an elite level for girls aged 8 to 12. And that's the pathway. We want to see it the same way as we've got our academy. We want to see young girls be able to progress through Pompey in the community into an academy set up with the women and then into first team football. Again, providing opportunities, inspiring local young girls to be able to realise their dream and play professional football for Pompey.
On to a question about retail. This comes from Stuart. It's great to see we're doing so well so far this season, but a concern I have is there's hardly any sizes that seem to be available to buy my child a kit for Christmas.
Hugely frustrating that we ran out of home shirts and in both adult and youth sizes, and the away shirt has been hugely popular too, as a third shirt. I think probably I mentioned this in the Tony Goodall fans conference that the way our operation is structured is that we're very fortunate to have a top supplier, a brand in Nike that produce our shirts. Not many clubs at this level have it, and we obviously are in a position where the support really goes into their really big clubs at the top of the tree, the Premier League clubs in Europe. And for us to be able to have Nike, then there has to be a licensing agreement with a third party to operate your retail. And we have a company called Just Sport who operate the Pompey store. Just Sport and Nike work closely together, and the orders that go in from Just Sport into Nike have to be put in by the September of the previous season, and their forecasts are very much based on previous experience and previous sales. So if you like, the order for the 23-24 season went in September, and there's not much of an opportunity to alter. The last chance you get to order extra stock in for November would be in the March. So I think Nike increased their order for this year, but they and ourselves have been absolutely bowled over by the phenomenal response to the shirts. We sold 9,000 shirts in the whole of last season. We've already sold 14,000 this season. I think that's a consequence of three things: a really good design. The early launch was hugely significant. We normally launch at the end of July. We managed to work with Just Sport and Nike to get those shirts in a lot earlier, and they went on sale on the 30th of June. We sold 2,000 shirts over that first weekend. We generally sell probably 2,000 in the first 2 weeks between July and the first game of the season in August. So that's had a massive impact in terms of running out of stock, and you're not able to top up. However, we wouldn't let it go, and we worked really hard with Nike to try and persuade them to get some more shirts delivered. And then something which is quite unprecedented, they got us a further 2,000 adult shirts, which should have been in for Christmas Eve or the 23rd. Unfortunately, they're currently stuck in customs in Belgium. They will be with us in the early part of January, so we can continue a little bit of momentum there. But no, I think fair play to everybody in terms of trying their best to get the extra shirts in, but again, probably victims of our own success in terms of where we are. So yeah, we will have other product coming in during the year. We're going to have 2 new retro shirts that will come in March time. They were hugely successful, the retro shirts last year. We bought them in March and over the summer. We've got some supplies of those in. Supporters have asked we can go up to 3XL on those, which we have been able to deliver. So yeah, good for retail. disappointing. I understand the frustration, and what we will do next year is ensure that the orders are significantly increased for the 24-25 season to do our best to satisfy the demand for shirts.
Brilliant. One final supporter question for today. This comes from Joseph. Do we have any plans to come away from iFollow and start something along the lines of Pompey TV?
Yes, we do. We're currently coming to the end of the agreement with EFL Digital, who provide the iFollow services. The business model for the EFL has changed as a few more clubs have started to develop their own channels going forward. So the current business model as it works, which basically provides the club with free websites, free streaming, will disappear. And those clubs that choose to remain with EFL will have to pay a fee going forward. So it's the right time for us to look at all our different options. So we're looking at we're working with people at the moment, receiving interest. We're going through a tender process with everybody at the moment to look at provision for our website, for an app, for mobile provision, and also for streaming services as well. I think it's a good time as well just to mention the broadcasting deal for next season, because the new deal with Sky will mean that the iFollow domestic stream will disappear as such. iFollow will still continue internationally, but for those domestically, you'll still be able to access all the games midweek, bank holidays, the first and last games of the season, international breaks for those clubs in Leagues 1 and Leagues 2 will all be available on a new Sky app. So you'll still be able to get the services, but it'll be done in a different way. That will materially affect our domestic revenue, but we will get an upside from the new TV deal as well. So that's all to come in. So we're working towards making a decision sort of early part of next year, in early 2024, and then with a view to seeing what we're going to do for the new season 24-25, and that may well include Pompey TV.
Fantastic news. Just one final one from me. As we head into the new year, what are your hopes and expectations for 2024?
Well, ultimately, it's got to be promotion. We've got to do our best. We're in a really good position, whether it be automatic or via the playoffs. I think we're absolutely thrilled with the way this season has started, but there's much to do. We're going to get more bumps on the road. We had a bump against Blackpool. There'll be more bumps and setbacks to come. But one of the most amazing things, and it will stay with me for a long, long time, I've been lucky enough to be in this game now for 26 years, was the response at Blackpool from going 4-0 down. The way the fans showed togetherness, the way that resonated with players, not just on the pitch, but afterwards as well, in a way everyone came together to make something really special and give them the belief to go on and then go and win the next 4 games, was absolutely impressive. And Bolton too, a massive game on the top of the table. If we'd have drawn or lost it, it wasn't necessarily disastrous, but to win it was massive. And the noise and the passion that came out in that particular game was really something special. And if we can have that spirit of togetherness, we've got it throughout the club at the moment. We've got it amongst the players. We've got it amongst the staff. We've got a real focus. We've got a real plan of where we're going, which I hope people now can see is being delivered and understand it. But the supporters are a massive part of that, and to thank you, because we're at a stage where we're selling out Fratton Park. We've got 15,000 season ticket holders. We've got a waiting list. It's just phenomenal for a football club in League One to be in this position, and I think we're all hugely grateful for supporters putting us in that position and buying into what we're doing. And the onus is on us to deliver, and that's what we've got to do throughout 2024, and make sure whatever happens that we continue this strategic overview in terms of player recruitment, what we're trying to do. So we're building not just a one-season success, reliant mainly on loan players coming in and then losing at the end of the season. We've got players we own. They're our assets, and we continue to do that we can continue to provide a really, really strong, secure, long-term future for the football club. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm really grateful to the owners as well for all the different areas, the 4 different projects that we're going into, the TV gantry and the associated areas of the new seats in the south stand, the new executive suite to go into the Milton End, the commitment to helping us develop our non-match day revenues by refurbishing and revitalising the Victory Lounge, moving the players into that main building, and the extra sort of areas that we're going to create in the North Stand to continue to enable our food and drink to grow, but also provide a better experience for supporters. So all these things are going to benefit players, they're going to benefit the coaching staff, they're going to benefit the academy, they're going to benefit the staff here, they're going to benefit the broadcasters, and they're going to benefit, most importantly, supporters. And so I'm really thrilled and proud to be able to continue to work to achieving everything positive for Portsmouth Football Club. So yeah, 2024, a big year ahead, I think, for us all. And all I want to do is make sure that we can continue to put smiles on faces. Ultimately, that's what we're here to do. And that comes with success and an understanding of where the football club is going. So yeah, really grateful. And I think all remains for me to say, Max, is to say thank you to every single supporter and to wish you and all your families a really, really happy Christmas and a prosperous and successful 2024.
Thanks very much for your time, Andy. We'll say the same to you. Hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Max, and you too.